Welcome to Renew My Revolution podcast with your host, Michelle Cook Hall. As always, it is my honor. It is my pleasure to be able to come on and share some tips and some tools with you that I know will assist you in becoming a better you. Listen, when I'm helping you, I'm helping myself. So this is a win-win situation for all of us around. Today is a good day to talk. Today is a good day to click that reset button and start all over again. That's exactly what this podcast is all about. Reminding you that no matter how many mistakes you made or where you are in your life, you can always start all over again. Isn't that awesome to just think about that concept? We talk about it all the time because I think it's relevant. I think it's relevant for progress to remind yourself that, yeah, I may have wasted some time. I may have made some poor choices, but I can definitely start all over again. That I am not bound by this mistake, that I am not bound by this poor choice. I'm not bound by this issue that I'm struggling with right now. I don't have to live like this for the rest of my life. I think when people get in their minds that they're stuck and they can't go forward because they've been going through a same issue for years and years, that gives them no hope. And we talked about having no hope before in a podcast and how dangerous that is when an individual no longer feel as if there is a future, feel as if they have hope. So it's very important for this podcast to stay vigilant, reminding people that they can always start all over, that they are living by grace and mercy. And so therefore there is room when we're dealing with grace and mercy. There is room to acknowledge that, yes, I may have wasted 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, or even 2 years in this situation, but I have an opportunity. And I always talk about your rights. You have an authority and a legal right to start all over again. When I talk about legal right, we're talking about spiritually. You have a legal right to renew, to start all over fresh and start all over again. You deserve it. We talk about that a lot too in this podcast about how it's important to be reminded that you deserve this second chance. A lot of times people don't see that. They don't believe that. They are constantly reminded of their bad choices and the situations that they're in, especially if you're still sitting in it. And so you're constantly bombarded by the poor choices. You're constantly being bombarded by the mistakes, and that seems to overshadow. That seems to be louder than, the hope of a future. And I think that is the point that people get to when they feel like, this is the end. I no longer want to live. And so we want to make sure that you don't get to that point. We want to make sure that you are constantly reminded that although it is very noisy, I talked about that before. If you can just silence that noise, and everybody's noise is different and everybody's volume of noise is different. So you might be in a place where it just seems like your situation is so loud that it overshadows any type of way out. It overshadows any type of peace or contentment or joy or happiness or love that you can ever, really desire and want to have. And some people don't have that. Some people, it seems like, yeah, we have chaos. Yeah, there's some things going on, but I still can see, the end. I still can see the the rainbow. I still can see, some type of peace, some type of joy. So everybody's different. But for those who are struggling, I'm talking to you today. This is specifically for you. This podcast is for you. I felt compelled to do this today. And this is completely unscripted. But for those of you who are in the place where the noise is louder than your future, the noise is louder than hope. The noise is louder than, seeing end of the rainbow, seeing any type of way out. If your noise is so loud that you can't find peace, you can't find joy, you can't, find contentment. If your noise is so loud, that you feel like I can no longer take it, I can no longer exist this way. And this is for you. This is for you. This podcast is for you, because I want you to know, number one, that you are loved. You are loved. I don't care what other people might say around you. I don't care if people have given up on you. I don't care if they have rejected you. They have pushed you to the side. They no longer check on you. They're not concerned for you. They're not being bothered with you. They're not excited to see you come into the room. I don't care. I want to remind you that you are loved. You are loved and you are treasured. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Do not allow people, come on, do not allow people to make you feel less than what you really are. And sometimes it's not just people, it's us. So you don't do that to yourself. Please do not undervalue yourself. Please don't. I don't care if you have a drug addiction. I don't care if you're suffering from depression or have a mental health issue or find yourself in the worst position of your entire life. That does not give you the right to just give up on yourself or to think less of yourself. You're more than that addiction, is what I'm telling you. You're more than that struggle. You're more than that depression. You're more than that problem, that circumstance. You're bigger than that. And so that's what I'm here to remind you today, that although it exists, although you might be sitting in the middle of it, although it might be loud and chaotic, you are bigger than that. You are stronger than that. You are more valuable than that. And I want you to know that. I'm not aware of each and everybody's personal background that listens to this podcast. It's not possible for me to know that. But I am telling you, in regards to what your upbringing was, in regards to what your mom might have told you, your father might have told you, or the rejection that you might have gotten from your parents or your grandparents or your siblings or your friends, your peers, your co-workers, your spouse, your significant other, irregardless to whatever rejection that you have faced, no matter how many times you've been told that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, no matter how many times you've been told you've been doing this too long, there's no hope for you. I've given everything that I can and there's no hope for you. Irregardless to you being told these things, I'm coming to tell you today, you are more than that. No matter how many moments you looked at your own self in the mirror and fail to see the potential, fail to see the value. No matter how many times you've found yourself in that situation, I'm coming to remind you that you are more than that. You are stronger than that. You are bigger than that. You are greater than that. Because greater is he that's in you than he that is in the world. So what I'm trying to tell you is that inside of you is greatness. Inside of you is potential that you have yet to tap into. Inside of you is purpose that you have yet to see, to expound on, to value, to nurture, to allow to grow. And that's the issue. That's the issue. When we fail to see our purpose, we are bound to make poor choices. We are bound to go around in circles. And for those who have listened to me enough, that is like a pet peeve of mine. Is when we fail to progress. When we go in just circles and circles and circles, it's not productive. It is not healthy for us. We are designed to be progressive. And sometimes we can get stuck. And for those who are stuck today, I'm here to talk to you. I want to tell you, you have the strength, you have the capabilities, and you have the means to come out of that circle, to come out of that place of redundancy. Being redundant is not productive. So you can do it. That's what's so amazing is that when you're reminded that you can do it. And this is not a motivational speech. These are facts. I'm not here just to motivate you. I'm not here just to speak, just to be speaking to you. But I'm here to share facts with you. I'm here to remind you of something that you knew once before, but just might have forgotten. Because life, we talk about that. Life moments come and sometimes we forget. We forget what we were even doing. Have you ever been, sitting somewhere and said, well, let me go in here and let me get my phone out of this room. Then you get up and you go to the room and then you stand there in the doorway. This is for older people, I guess. You get to the doorway and you're thinking to yourself, what did I come in this room for? Because between that walk, first, let me start from beginning from the moment of saying, I need to go get my phone. You might have walked down the hallway, saw something that distracted you, something on the floor, you picked it up. Your child might have said something to you. You answered their question. Your spouse might have stopped you and asked you something. You've answered their question. And then by the time you get to the room where your phone is, you stand in the doorway and you're asking yourself, why did I come in here? Why? That's the simple way of looking at life. That's a simple way of looking at how things come and they distract us from whatever we were tending to do, right? Intending to do. We get easily distracted. And it's not always, our fault. Things happen. Things come to you. There's so many moments in life where I just felt like, why did this have to come, my way? I didn't ask for it. I didn't warrant it. I didn't ask for it. I didn't warrant it. I didn't need it. Okay. But things happen. That's life. The only thing that's consistent in life is what changed. So it's life. It happens. It's nothing that you or I can do that's going to change life's moments. They just come. One moment you can be happy, enjoying your day, having a great time, and the next phone call can shift your entire life. One phone call can shift your entire life. You can be sitting enjoying your meal. One phone call can make you lose your appetite. Come on, that's just life. And when we begin to see that and understand that reality, that life comes and life has moments. There are people who, have decided I'm going to get married and I'm going to vow myself to this person for the rest of my life. And I have no intention. We talked about this before in the Valentine's Special podcast, that when you get married, your intentions is not for divorce. Nobody goes into marriage thinking that they are going to get divorced. If that's the case, what would be the point of getting married, right? So nobody says to themselves, hey, I'm going to get married, and in 5 more years, we're going to get divorced, or 10 years, we're going to get divorced. Nobody's going to say that, right? You go with the intentions of being with this person for the rest of your life, right? As long as you guys are living, you want to spend time together, grow together, mature together, and share this journey together. But there are times where life moments happen and people grow apart and they can no longer dwell together for whatever reason, right? And so then they go through the process of divorce. And then divorce is, for people, it's like a death, right? Because you become one for so long. It's like losing a part of yourself. So then there are people who struggle with bouncing back from that, So these are life moments that come. Life moments that happen. People who say, they get married, or they just say, let's have a family, and they want to have children, and they planned it, named, the kids, how many kids they want to have, and they're excited about their future, they're excited about their life, and all that it has for them in the future. And then right when they are trying and attempting to, produce their family, here come a hiccup. Here come a life's moment where now they find out they're not able. Something's wrong. Something that they didn't expect to happen has happened. And now they're struggling with fertility issues. These are real issues and real problems for people, right? So that's a life's moment. It's not something that you expected, not something that you planned, not something that, you thought you'd be going through, but it came to you. It happened. That's change. It's not all change is not good change, and all change is not bad changes, but it's consistency of life. It's going to always be these hiccups, these life moments that come through our lives that we didn't plan. One of the things that I always have shared on this podcast and regarding, the changes and the hiccups and life moments for me was, facing so much grief, losing so many family members that were extremely close to me, and having to learn to live a life that was completely at one time surrounded with them and engulfed with them and kind of threaded into my life, kind of learning how to continue on in a healthy and productive way without them. That took so much work. It's still taking work. It's still taking work. It takes work because, of course, you don't see it no matter how sick a family member is or how long they stayed sick or how many different situations and trials that they went through with illnesses or whatever. It still doesn't prepare your heart to accept them never being seen again on this side of earth. Okay? It's a challenge. It's a hiccup. It's a life moment. It's a change. It's something that I didn't see. You don't see it. We don't expect it. We don't want it. We don't desire it, but it happens. It happens. So what do we do? What do we do when we find ourselves in these moments? And I can go on listing different examples, of these life moments. Of course, you never thought you would be an addict. Of course, you never thought that you would be, addicted to something. Of course, you didn't think that. Nobody, gets up one day and say, I'm going to try this and I'm going to enjoy it and get addicted. Nobody does that. You can interview as many addicts as you want, and I guarantee you they're not going to tell you, I desire to be an addict. I wanted this. Nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to say, I wanted to be an addict. Nobody's going to say that because they didn't want it. Nobody wants that. It happens. It happens to you. Sometimes, and sometimes, people will say, well, you don't understand. They put themselves in that situation. They tried it. Well, how many mistakes have you made that, you could have been in a situation, that was poisonous to yourself? Well, how many things that was poisonous to you that you did continue to do, but it just wasn't drugs or alcohol? Well, no, there's relationships that people are in that they never should have been in. Okay? There are places that people went that they should never have gone. There's things that people have done they never should have done. Okay? So we're not going to judge people based upon whatever their issue is. Okay, we're not going to do that because people do that. They say, you don't understand, I didn't cause this on myself, but they cause that on themselves. That's not true. It's not always factual. People, for different reasons, end up going towards drugs and alcohol. They're numbing pain. They're screaming inside from pain from being molested as a child, raped, from being abused physically, verbally. It's just a way out. Grief, come on, it's just a way out. It's a way of numbing pain. And sometimes they'll say, it could be a physical pain, and they just got addicted to, prescription drugs. Prescription drugs no longer was sufficient, so then they went to other drugs. It's just a pattern of behavior that can happen to anybody. So what do you do when you get there? That's my point. That's my point. What do you do when you find yourself in these type of situations? And the only reason why I brought up, making sure that we're not judging and separating, because that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. We would judge a person who is struggling with addiction or struggling with depression, and it's not fair. And so that's why I always make it my business to make sure that you understand it can happen to anybody. Absolutely anybody. So we want to make sure that we're not doing that. Okay. So what do we do once we're there? We're there. You're in this place and you've been here for a while, and there's no support system out there for you as far as family or friends. They're tired. They've heard your song and dance, over and over again, and they have lost faith in you making the necessary changes that you need to make to become a productive person for yourself, right? Sometimes they call it tough love. I'm just done. You're going to have to step up, care about yourself, and do what you need to do, right? What do you do? What do you do at that point? Well, what we've talked about before is, sometimes we have to become self-sufficient. We have to find the strength to make the necessary choices to do what we need to do, okay? And what's great about it is that I've said this before. Sometimes you think, I don't have it. I don't have the strength that you're talking about. I don't have it. If I did, I wouldn't be in this situation. And I cannot help but constantly remind you how strong you really are. That's the if I can just get you to get there, to understand that no matter how tired, exhausted, and drained you think you are, we always muster strength from somewhere. We always muster strength from somewhere. And you're saying to yourself, how do you know this? You don't know me. Because I know what it's like to feel completely depleted and defeated and feel like there's not one more ounce in me. And then here comes this wave of grace, this wave of mercy, this wave of strength that comes. It happens, and it can happen to you. So instead of you looking for a rescue team of people to come to your aid and rescue you, because sometimes we think that's going to happen. They're going to come and they're going to, at some point, someone's going to care enough and they're going to come and they're going to rescue me and get me out of this place that I'm in. Stop waiting on the rescue team and be a part of your own healing. We talked about that. I need you to understand how imperative it is for you and I to be a part of our own healing. We cannot wait for a rescue team because you will be wasting time, which you cannot get back. And not only that, they might never, ever, ever come. And that's the reality of it. That's your reality. You will be wasting your time waiting for someone to come and give you something that you already have the ability, you're already equipped to do yourself. Get up. Get up today. Rise up from that place. How do I rise up? You can do it. It's a step. Take the first step. The first step. If it's getting into rehab, go get into rehab. If it's going on a video chat because we're in quarantine and everything with certain things, so you be uncomfortable, go on a video chat with the mental health therapist. Go on a video chat with, someone who can assist you in letting go of whatever type of addiction that you're struggling with. Reach out to your spiritual leader. Reach out to someone that you can trust and tell them, I'm ready, like for real. And remind them, I'm not expecting you to save me. I'm not expecting you to do anything but just be support for me as I go on this journey. Lead me in that right direction. And I'm going to work. You have to work. You have to work it yourself. Any type of steps towards healing, it takes effort. Physical, mental, emotional. It takes effort. It takes work that you have to put in yourself. So if you're struggling today, I came on here to talk specifically to you about being a part of your own healing process. Getting yourself up from where you are right now, what you're facing right now, pulling yourself up, finding the strength that is there. It's there. You just have to find it. This is when faith kicks in, because faith makes you make a move without you even seeing the result. I don't see my results. I don't even feel my results, but I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep pressing. I don't see nothing different. I don't feel nothing different, but I continue to move forward because I want to come from out of this place. I want to receive my wholeness, my healing. I want progression in my life. I want to persevere. I want to keep moving forward. I don't want to let anything else hold me back. Now, one more day, now one more minute. Come on, somebody, not even one more second. I've given up so much time to this issue, to this situation, to this struggle, to this problem. I refuse to give it one more second of my life. I heard one time someone said that you almost have to get angry with whatever it is that you're dealing with. And I believe that because I've seen that in my own life, where you just get angry at it. What it had a hold on you will no longer have a hold on you. I'm tired of this issue. I'm tired of going through the same thing. I'm tired of being in the same place. I'm tired of having to depend on other people to do things for me that I can do for myself. You have to get angry with it in order for you to see a change for yourself. You have to allow it to know that you're no longer going to be bound by its grips anymore. That, yeah, it might have had me for 15 years, but guess what? The 16th year is not going to happen. Because now I'm setting a boundary. I'm setting a standard for myself. And saying, I made the mistake, but it's not going to make me. Come on, I made the mistake, but it's not going to make me. Just because you have been in the place for a long time does not mean you have to remain in that place for the rest of your entire life. A poor choice, a poor situation does not mean that you're bound by a contract to serve the remainder of your life to that bad choice, that bad situation. It's all about us just walking out, stepping out in faith. Saying, yeah, you don't understand. This is hard. This is a hard struggle. I've been doing this for so long. This is all I know. Well, you had to learn that. We talked about that before. So learned behavior. So you put a lot of work into that. So don't think that overnight you're about to just undo that. It's going to take some work for you to get out of that. But the question to you is it worth it? Is it worth to have your joy back, your peace back, your hope back, your life back? Your freedom back? Is it worth it? Yes, it is. You're worth it. You are worth it. So yes, it is. It's worth to have a life again, to have hope again, to have trust again, to have people trust you again. Okay, and to be trusted. It's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. So I just am excited to hear the feedback of those of you who said to yourself today, you know what, I listened to her and I decided today was my day and I am going to come up from this place and I am going to put forth an effort and put in the work and change my life because I can do it. I want someone to be encouraged today enough to see this thing through. I want somebody to be empowered today enough to see this thing through. And I want you to come and tell me about it. I want you to send me a message. I want you to leave me a comment and say, hey, I actually tried it. Hey, it actually worked. Hey, I'm so glad I listened. Or if you have a question, in regards to certain steps or questions regarding this specific podcast, leave your questions. I review those and I'll get back to you. If you would like to email me, please go ahead and email me at Michelle the number 35hall@yahoo.com. I will respond to your comments and your questions. Remember, you can contact me through other social media platforms. Connect with me. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go ahead and reach out. Let me know how this podcast has helped you. We need to make sure that we're checking on each other and that we are encouraging one another, especially during these particular days that we are living in. It's very important that we are supporting each other. My prayers are to the families that have been affected by the snowstorm, especially in Texas. We are definitely praying for you. I live here in the state of Illinois, so we are very much aware of how painful, the weather can be. We are the windy city here, so we know about, snowstorms and, icy and below zero weather. I remember having to go to the state of Minnesota and during the wintertime, and it was like 30 below zero. It was the kind of weather, and I'm not exaggerating, where you literally had to go from, one building to the next, and it was mostly indoors. Their buildings are like connected, especially downtown. And if you had to step outside, it was like you run from one building to the next. You did not like slow walk from one building to the next, because it was that type of temperature where if your skin was exposed, you could get frostbite. So I'm aware of that kind of weather. But my heart goes out. I've seen much videos and heard many stories, so our hearts go out to that. So we want to acknowledge that on this podcast. And my prayer is, that you all get relief really, really soon. So I just thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope that it is helping you. I hope that you're receiving what you need from it. Remember, if you're interested in any of the books that I have, Faith versus Fear, Breaking Family Ties, The Crowd, Heart of a Worshiper, they are available on Amazon.com. Breaking Family Ties and Faith versus Fear is also available on BarnesandNoble.com as well. So you guys, keep listening, keep rocking with me. I'm going to keep rocking. Thank you so much for your support from our last podcast, our Valentine's Day special. It did really, really well. I do have another guest that will be coming on really soon. I'm working on it. I want to make sure it's a good treat for you guys. Somebody's going to give you some wisdom, some knowledge, lots of experience. So I'm loving this and I'm excited about it. I hope you are too. Please remember once again to leave comments. Let me know what you want to hear. If I can, do a topic that I haven't touched yet and it stays within the genre of what I do, please let me know and we'll make sure that we check into that, do some research on it, and provide you with what you need. God bless you guys. Have a great day. You have been listening to Renewed Mind Revolution podcast with your host, Michelle Kakal. I love you, love you, love you, love you. But remember, God loves you more. God bless.